One last time. Old man Orton, old man Cena, nearly 20 years since the WWE first started knuckling down on making them never-ending rivals. This year, prior to R-Truth's involvement, good grief, John Cena versus Randy Orton enjoyed considerable crowd interest. John Cena is a heel now, a whiny, petulant, sensitive heel, and Orton is a cool guy, veteran babyface. It's so far removed from Vince McMahon's original vision for these two that it almost feels like a parody of the WWE back in their primes. From very early on, it was clear the WWE had big plans for these two. They were half of the OVW Big Four, with Brock Lesnar getting the super push right out of the gate, only to hightail it out of there for a doomed football career, and Batista bodybuilding his way to a surprise mega push in late 2004 and 2005 onwards. The original SmackDown vs. Raw game made abundantly clear that the WWE, now missing Lesnar, as well as megastars like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Hulk Hogan, firmly believed that John Cena and Randy Orton had what it took to carry the WWE into the next generation and fill the star void, eating the promotion alive at the time. Fast forward to 2007, and we get our long-awaited first proper feud between these two. John Cena is the undisputed new face of the company by this point. Heading into their SummerSlam 2007 clash, he'd been WWE Champion for 11 months, enjoying his third run on top. In that time, he'd gone from a dependable crowd favourite to quite the opposite, with many fans, particularly grown men, looking for something edgier, like the good old days of the Attitude Era just several years prior, booing him out of the building. His whole character was tailored to younger viewers. Gone were the days of being Vanilla Ice in wrestling form. Now he was a big kid, and adults who'd spent years loving a frankly often quite childish medium were fuming about having this fact thrown in their faces. It also didn't help that longtime stars, well respected by crowds for their immense talent, such as Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle, had been made to look utterly ridiculous opposite Cena in a bid to firmly establish him as the top guy. Far from getting the job done, the Cena mega push had actually infuriated many fans, splitting the fandom down the middle, regardless of the actual guy's charisma, appeal, or hard work, or lack thereof. The smart style of fandom was going mainstream by the noughties. With the mainstream boom of wrestling itself dead and buried, with WCW gone, and with many of the world's most beloved promotions in freefall, the noughties lost hordes of casuals across the board, making the hardcore diehards' voices that much louder. Fans who, rather than merely watching it as a silly show week to week, watched it for what it was, a worked program where sometimes their favorites didn't get the pushes they wanted to see them get. By the time SummerSlam 2007 rolled in, these fans had witnessed John Cena not only go over respected work rate favorites such as Jericho, Angle, Christian, Edge, and Shawn Michaels, they'd also seen him topple company pillars like Triple H, and end the unbeaten streaks of resident monsters Umaga and the Great Khali. For as much fun as Big Match John was for younger viewers with his goofy trash talk and his colourful shirts and his big 5 moves of doom comebacks, the older fans simply weren't enjoying the turbo push and weren't experiencing it as just the story, but as an affront to their preferences on a scripted show. Randy Orton, meanwhile, was often flailing while Cena got the big push starting in 2005, right up until their meeting in 2007. In 2004, WWE made him their youngest ever world champion when he beat He Who Must Not Be Named at SummerSlam. Orton was soon turned face, forced to really, after a grim beatdown angle from Triple H and friends, a measly month after winning the gold. He dropped the belt to the game, destroying what could have been an interesting prodigy title run with some slow burn tension between him and Triple Nose's faction mates. But no. After a measly 4 weeks, Randy Orton just had to give the belt to Triple H. Everyone needed another Triple H title run. And what's very fascinating about that is you'll have some people say, well, remember 2004, they didn't have many established stars. Triple H was a leading man on Raw, a big star. He had name value, sure, but actually look at the ratings. When he came out on screen to do his 600-minute promo that should have only taken 6 minutes, ratings would go down. People wanted something new, and Randy Orton was indeed something very new at the time. But you see, the problem there, the problem is, the thing with Randy Orton at the time was, well, let's just call it how it is. Let's just be simple here. He was a very good-looking guy. No homo, obviously.
I am not gay.
Handsome, tall, jacked, in the prime of life at just 24, and already getting the big push.
For the record, if anyone out there still cares, I'm not actually gay.
Already very over as a top heel, in fact getting some babyface style reactions. Fans really liked this guy. And well, Triple H just couldn't have that, unfortunately, as Austin Theory has shown us in more recent times. When you're a promising young talent with all the tools for stardom, without ever having to carry the bags of other men to keep your job, well, you can just go and do one, as far as Triple Envy is concerned. Orton was made to look like a fool and a chump, wedged into an ill-fitting babyface role for a couple of months so Triple Spudhug could beat on him some more. Throughout 2005 and 2006, Randy Orton was largely an upper mid-card heel, including utterly absurd feuds with The Undertaker, the ghost of Eddie Guerrero, and Hulk Hogan. Fortunately, it wasn't all doom and gloom for the legend killer. You see, as 2007 came in, Randy Orton was largely forgiven by WWE for his shameless pot smoking, his questionable attitude, and whatever the hell it was he did to that woman's bag because she didn't know who he was or something. You know, I remember Reading Festival when I was a teen. I went a few times. Big thing here in the UK for peeps finishing up year 11 of high school. Some of us, I mean some people, not me. Come on. I would never dream of such behaviour. Took dumps in a particular person's tent. Not anyone's tent, mind you, that would be weird. It was this one girl who over the course of the past year before then had dated all of us. I've dated all of them at some point. Dated them, some blokes I knew, not me. All bitter about how she'd treated them. And let me tell you, when you're drunk as a skunk and inhaling drone, you'll do some crazy stuff on a whim. Not me, other people will do some crazy stuff on a whim. My point is, unfortunately, that alleged tale of Orton not quite making it to the toilet and having to use a handbag, well, it's more common than you might expect if it's true, which we don't know for sure. Not that I personally would ever do it, obviously. My weekend in New Delhi taught me the importance of holding number 2 until you can find an actual putty to sit on. But anyways, in 2007, Randy Orton was enjoying a renewed push as an ice-cold heel. He'd taken out Shawn Michaels. He'd obliterated Rob Van Dam. He'd bullied a very young Cody Rhodes. And fans were enjoying it. It was fun watching him kick people in the head. Orton seemed really cool and dark, a perfect contrast to good guy Cena. SummerSlam. Cena's been champ for a long time, and there was really only about 4 months in total, from WrestleMania 21 in 2005 all the way up to SummerSlam in 2007, where he wasn't actually champ. People wanted something new, and a lot of those people were pretty happy for that something new to be Randy Orton. But no, WWE were hesitant to see Big Match John do the singles job on the second biggest card of the year, even though jobbing at SummerSlam wound up becoming a tradition for him in the years after. And he went over Randy Orton clean, in what was a very good match in fairness. The feud got dragged out then, perfect foreshadowing of how feuds with these two would always go, with a terrible DQ finish match the next month at Unforgiven, and a weird angle where Randy Orton just couldn't get enough of beating up John Cena's father. An injury to Cena put their final grudge bout on hold, and Orton got the vacant belt, before immediately being humiliated by Triple H, yet again, only to then get the belt back that very same night. Very good match where he gets the belt back, but all the same the booking of this show was all over the place. WWE in 2007 is just a complete mess of injuries, steroid busts, booking misfires, and Christopher Benoit leaving the dogs in the enclosed pool area. Terrible time for the company all round, just awful. Orton was a tainted top dog, a performer with all the qualities of a main man, including the title, but booking that frequently left an asterisk next to his name. And John Cena versus Randy Orton as a feud came to reflect this issue in the years that followed. Their lengthy, often criticized 2009 rivalry saw the pair wrestle at 4 consecutive pay-per-view events, hot potatoing the title between them, and while their I Quit match at Breaking Point is a criminally underrated gem with incredible psychology and one of Cena's absolute best babyface performances, the excessive nature of the feud, including an exhausting 60-minute Iron Man match at Bragging Rights, left fans sick and tired of seeing these two together. At Royal Rumble 2011, Cena and Orton had themselves a little face-off, and you could just tell it was meant to evoke the famous face-off between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock at the Royal Rumble 10 years earlier. Only where fans lost their minds for Austin and Rock coming face-to-face again, no one really cared when Cena and Orton locked eyes. There was a real, here we go again kind of vibe going on in the show. And that only gets worse when the feud was renewed in 2013 and 2014. Their Royal Rumble 2014 match got absolutely pilloried by fans. Fans bent this bad boy over and really showed it the 50 states, if you know what I mean.
Tell you what, I'd like to bend her over a barrel and show her the 50 states, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not even sure I know what that means anyways. This is awful, boring, and worst of all, the most insulting chant in wrestling history. We want divas. Were all launched at this match. That wasn't even that bad. There was a cool moment where they swapped finishes. Cena hits Orton with the RKO. Orton lamps Cena with the AA. It was neat. This overdone feud showcased how boring and samey the booking of PG-era WWE often was, with a lack of adequate star power ensuring the few names they did have were on permanent rotation opposite each other. Fans had had enough, and not because these guys were bad. John Cena and Randy Orton were both excellent talents at the time. They're still big now, but because the feud hammered home how little interest WWE had in originality or changing things up. Despite what these guys had to offer, many fans grew to see them as manufactured talent. Vince McMahon projects clogging up the top spots ad nauseum, rinse and repeat, all while a variety of more colourful talents bubbled away beneath them, with guys like Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and even, hilariously, Ryback, often showing top dog promise without receiving the same level of commitment from the booking team. But time heals all wounds, and nostalgia goggles change the game. 2025, 8 years since the dynamic duo last threw down. John Cena and Randy Orton, one last time, in Orton's hometown. This time, the car's got a fresh coat of paint, with Orton as the face, Cena as the heel. Orton's cool, he's fun, he's relaxed, he's outgrown the psycho behaviour of his peak years, and is now a measured, sharp, witty, veteran babyface, still dangerous, but oddly mellow. Cena's an insufferable bastard, a whinging, cringing, miserable veteran determined to give the whole industry the finger on his way out the door. He hates the fans, he hates the title, he hates it all. The cape is gone. And with Super Cena out of the picture, we now have a miserable top dog on his last legs. This angle touched on their advanced age, with Orton lamenting the joys of having a wife and kids, while Cena only has one of those things. You see, Big Match John went and got himself the snip, as revealed on seminal reality series Total Dogshite, where psychopath Cena and his scripted, likely not even dating in reality partner, Nikki Bella, had the big kids argument.
I will give you a child.
But you have the...
I know. I physically can't have kids.
John, I'm past 30. I've been passed around the locker room enough. Wife me up. Sort of like committing fully to a second-hand car with excess mileage. That's modern marriage past 30 in the Western world for you. Just great. Delightful. Nothing a farmer loves more than buying an old cow everyone else milked. For free! Especially when you're a rich, successful guy like Cena. Oh yeah. That's what you want. Anyways, John Cena is a real man, bar the fact he's infertile, and he wasn't interested, so he revealed the ugly truth. His sperm duct was forcibly retired. Find someone else, whore! I'm going from wrestling to Hollywood. I don't have time for some snot-nosed rugrat I don't even want. And now Orton is insensitively bringing that up, suggesting fatherhood would give Cena clarity. Open up his emotional range and maturity as a man, and give him that all-important family any sane man would long for and cherish. Really nice promo. What's great about Randy Orton these days is how relaxed he is on the microphone. Orton sounds so natural, so good-natured and cheeky in how he talks and delivers his zingers. It makes his angles feel oddly grounded in the sterile, comically fake world of modern WWE, where everything is acknowledged as fake, just to make it that much faker. Orton saying this stuff to Cena in a genuinely, surprisingly nice, almost supportive way, trying to hand out some constructive advice, was a nice counter to Cena's depressed, spiteful persona, with Cena quickly throwing a fit about being parent-shamed, and he even insecurely blamed the crowd for his own personal issues. This was all very good material from two old pros who know how to work a crowd and keep it interesting. This is what these two can be. And now respected as legends of the game, rather than being spat on by smarks due to Vince McMahon daring to think and know that they were great talent worth pushing that regulars and casuals would be happy to watch. Cena and Orton have enjoyed full crowd investment, possibly for the first time since that original build to SummerSlam all the way back in 2007. So this match, right off the bat, was limited by the physical wear and tear of both men. They're both well into their 40s and have endured all manner of injuries, some of which were career-threatening in both cases. With age, Cena has slimmed down. Orton, meanwhile, has actually bulked up considerably. Already sporting a noticeable height advantage, Big Orton made Cena look like the physical underdog throughout this final feud and clash, making the new heel and face dynamic even stranger than it already was. These guys are old pros, and they knew how to work Orton's hometown crowd, pacing the match with Orton bringing the fight to a cowardly, miserable Cena, who was outfoxed by Orton early on when he tried getting cheeky. The action stayed basic, but logically paced, from basic exchanges to signature moves to finally hitting finishes, all with the story being these two know each other eerily well after so many years of war between them. Unfortunately, as is customary with heel Cena, overbooking reared its ugly head, with multiple ref bumps, a slew of road agents led by Nick Aldis stepping in, and finally, most ridiculously of all, long-time comedy jobber R-Truth being the difference maker that cost Orton the match. This is the final time these two will wrestle, according to the advertising at least. Let's just remember they did say Rock versus Cena would be one time only as well. That means the final two of the biggest, most relentlessly pushed stars of their generation collided, and it ultimately revolved around R-Truth. I went into more detail about this in my Backlash review, shameless plug, but essentially, the final bout of one of the more polarizing generational conflicts of recent wrestling history kicked off with a bang and ended on a truly bizarre whimper. Heel Orton used to use his legacy henchmen to get the better of Cena a lot back in the day, and a similar angle in reverse here, with Cena using some paid-off talent to help him beat Orton, might have fit. But reducing the climax of the bout to a goofy punchline ensures this rivalry, already one mocked and derided by many smarkier fans over the years, will only continue to struggle with reputation in the years to come. Ultimately, John Cena versus Randy Orton came to chart and represent the growing fan disinterest in kayfabe, as the industry recklessly tears away what little is left of the veil of fakery. The fandom continues to evolve past even enjoying wrestling for the smoke and mirrors fun it was meant to be. From smark outcry back in the day to the modern era of everyone droning on ad nauseum about just how fake everything is at every given moment. Cena vs. Orton is a key and long-running entry in what may come to be the demise of professional wrestling. It's not the fault of the performers at all. It's all to do with the changing landscape of an entertainment medium that no longer knows just exactly what it even wants to be.